Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
Griff.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
I'll be honest, the intro, my brain almost went off. I had to think of the words I was going to say. I was like,
I
wait,
like
what was
that.
I say?
Oak's the only one that tries to add a bit of flair to the intro. The rest of us is like, yeah, okay, whatever.
We gotta have a little. Psst.
We used to have
That's
back in the day. We had full-on intros that talked about everything that was being discussed on the show, and then went into that we had to record.
Yeah, but that was like a decade ago. That was so long ago now.
Why are you this way?
That's right. You've been doing this stuff for like 12 years now.
You
Ugh.
need to stop.
I'll be right back. I need to grab my cane.
What, Baka?
But I felt my hip break on that one.
I'll get you the cane.
To be fair, I am wearing my
I
old
have
lady
one.
sweater today, so you know.
I have a cane, sir.
Isn't that your sweater you wear every day, though?
No. Also, fuck you. And speaking of canes, let's throw you under the bus. Oak has a cane too, Baka. He does.
Dude.
All these old people, man. What in the world am I doing here still?
Yeah, it's from when I broke a toe once upon a time.
I could say
Big
something, but I'm
stupid
not going to say
Listen,
it
he
here.
made a lot of
Stupid.
really poor decisions that day.
Yes. Yes. I did.
Nothing about that was cool.
But I got good stories out of it. That's all that matters.
Is it like one of those medical ones, or is it fancy?
There you go. I wrote it to Griff, so I didn't have to say that out loud.
It's definitely not fancy because it was my dad's, like, from back in the day, and I just happened to have it. So
Mine's fancy. So.
yeah, I got lucky. You have a fancy cane?
Yeah, it's got a wolf head carved on it.
Oh, nice.
We're off to a great start. There's not a whole lot to talk about, and I haven't even read, like, I sat down, pulled up the thing, we've already pushed record. I don't even know what we're talking about yet, so.
Well, we'll start off.
To catch up while
Yes.
me and Oak discuss getting old and needing pains.
Needing
The need of the canes.
Technically, I don't need it, but I ran across it somewhere, and I was like, that looks neat, and I picked it up and bought it.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you use it, too, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a bad knee, and some days it does act up, so.
Yeah, it happens. It happens when you get older. That's why you got the cane.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Baka's like, I'm gonna beat your ass with this cane next time I see you. Don't worry, old
And
man.
if I
You can
can't-
try to chase me.
Well, if I can't reach you with that, I've got a fucking walking stick that's longer.
There you go. I think I can still outrun you.
You know, being a pole vault at the end of the day. You start running, fall.
I have the end of it sharpened, and I can just throw it like a fucking javelin.
Oh, I've got pretty good hand-eye coordination. I could probably catch it. Got it back. Here, you catch. All right. Anyway, moving on from our old people talk.
Yes. So, to news? Are we going to news?
Yeah. We'll just
I'm
get
still reading.
to the news
Pick
stuff.
what you want. I'll just try to sound as
It's the
informed as always.
Silent Hill F. They had a live stream. They were showing off some of their new Silent Hill game, and it is the first Silent Hill game that's not going to take place in Silent Hill.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
It also
It's
didn't
weird.
get a rating in Australia, I think. I read something
That's
about
right.
that where it's too much for Australia.
well, Australia is usually the one that's a bit more censored. But
Yes.
yeah, this game.
Australia's
is-
like, we don't think that we need that. And it's like, well,
Yeah, I wish I could find. Let's see. Is it? in
I think
this
it's
article?
weird. Like, I really do. Because think about this for a minute. It's one of those, we know Australia is that way, but it's like the Silent Hill game gets banned and also the South Park games. So,
yeah, I mean, those are not the same. It's not, it's not all of the Silent Hills. It's specifically this one.
So I wonder if
With
it makes me.
VPNs, though, I'm sure that people could still get access to the games.
Oh, I'm sure they
100%.
can. And then they have, but you could do like South Park did and create an entire scene dedicated to just the Australians so it could get released there, where it was like, I'm sorry, you live in Australia, you can't see this scene, just so they would buy the game that was there. Your government won't allow you to see it.
So you'll just have to look it up on YouTube and pretend it's part of the game.
I actually do wonder. I have not been like in the Silent Hill Reddit this week since all of this stuff, or the past couple weeks, all of this stuff is happening. I don't know how the general fandom feels about moving away from the city itself. I'm kind of
Most
wondering.
of the community has been fine with it because one,
Yeah,
they're
that's
starved.
fine.
Don't fucking complain. Just shut your mouth.
Just whatever you'll
Just
feed
shut
us
up.
at this point.
Shut up, sit down, and let's try it out. Because I mean, the last game they got was in 2012, minus the most recent remake. So that was like 12 years of a dead IP to finally getting something, and then they're doing Silent Hill F. So it'll be interesting. It takes place in a Japanese rural mountain town, and it is a deeply psychological horror and gory game. Like there is going to
there's
be,
gonna
it
be
is
body
going to be,
horror and like just really
yes,
fucked up things. Yeah.
yes, it'll be interesting to see what they want. Hopefully they don't go for the shock factor just because of the shock factor. Hopefully all of the parts make sense within the realm of the game. Because I mean, this Silent Hill 2 wasn't super gory or unsettling. They had some good, really good models and good environments and things like that. But nothing was ever overtly gore-tastic just for the sake of it. Not like Saw, where Saw is just gore porn, if you want to call it that.
Or porn.
And
I mean, it is.
it's not so much gore porn; it's more torture porn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would agree with
yeah.
that too.
Well, it depends on some of those, because some of those scenes are definitely pretty.
Well, there's going to be gore into it, but it's also about the
The
torturing.
torture part. Yeah.
You know, you get to spend time with some of those characters and seeing them, you know.
Yes,
and the
I'm
action.
well aware.
Mhm.
I've watched
Both
enough
physical
of them
and
to know.
psychological in that.
I've only
Mhm.
watched a couple of them, and I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, that's not my.
But I mean, it's not a thing of like, oh well, it's too gory and too scary. And it's like this is just flat out torture porn. Just
Yeah.
at least like with the you know old slasher movies, they just fucking killed them. They didn't sit there and torture them forever.
Yeah, but there was always the human side where it was always like trying to teach them a lesson, but
Not
It-
always.
not until the third. Okay,
What?
drop you some knowledge
And-
bombs. It wasn't until the third movie in which that became a point of the storyline in which the people could not escape. Like there was no way for them, even if they succeeded the trap, they still couldn't escape. In the first two movies, there was all like people normally can't force themselves to do horror things, but there was always a way out. If you succeeded the puzzle, you could leave. Most of the time, people can't just because of you're put into a situation where your chances of winning are very, 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 very low. But there was always a chance to win in the first two. In this third movie, there was no chance. You just died. So then that's all lore, story based and whatnot. So it wasn't until like that point where they started just falling down a rabbit hole and got real fucking crazy.
Speaking of
Because
rabbit
it
holes, what
became
were we
all
talking about again?
the torture.
Yeah,
Silent Hill F, gore. So it's supposed to be that kind of like gore. Reading some of the descriptions on it, it's gonna have some stuff in there that might unsettle some folks.
I hope you're like I'm on the same page as you. I hope it's not shock and awe kind of thing where it's gory but without the purpose, you know. A lot of Silent Hill is
Yes.
supposed to be one of those things where people are dealing with their own psychological trauma, and everything that is a monster is looks that way because of something to do with their trauma. If it's just gore and monsters to be gore and monsters, it's not quite the same. Like that's not Silent
Yeah.
Hill's bag. So
Yeah. I mean, Resident Evil does it super well. Like they balance it to where they've got like deep, like some serious gore. They don't hold back on their main characters either, which is also one of the things that has been described in this one is that your main character is not safe. There will like if you fail and die, it will be brutal, and you will feel bad for letting it happen. So just like in Resident Evil 4 or the original one, where if Leon ever failed a chainsaw thing, it was brutal. They definitely did not hold back. It was a little shocking back in the day. But
I mean,
hopefully,
I think that from a formula standpoint, like it's been a while since you've had an actual Silent Hill game come out, other than the recent remake. But we did the same thing with Resident Evil. You had from 6 to 7, they changed it to first person, right? It's when they changed
yes.
to first person. So they changed that formula up a little bit. And so maybe a change in formula is what it kind of needs at the same time. And maybe they go the same route that Resident Evil did too and go, okay, and now we're going to remaster this version of the game that you used to love since 2 was successful. So maybe you get kind of a combo of both.
Yeah, definitely. And on that topic too, they've also shown that Resident Evil 9 is going to be another complete departure from what we know again. So they haven't shown it off yet. They're still working on it, but I'm very interested to see because they've gone some pretty crazy routes from like the first game to the second game to the third game to 4. Then action for 5 and 6, then first person for 7, back to the Resident Evil 4 formula in 8. Then they remade 2, made 3 that was short, 4 which was even better, and it's like, what are you gonna redo for 5? What are we doing for 9? Like, I don't know which timeline we're going. I threw Peace Bird down.
Oh, I was wondering what that sound was.
Yeah, Peace
I heard
Bird.
something
Whenever I
clatter.
get too rambunctious, Peace Bird falls off. There we go. But yeah, so I like this, like bringing it back and trying to start with something new or trying to revitalize or refresh the community in their way, not in a sanitized, big marketing style in Silent Hill's way.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's
respect
hope that it is in Silent Hill's way, because again, let's just hope it's not gore for the sake of gore. You know.
And that's where my faith in people who make Silent Hill. Hopefully, they know what they're supposed to do with the Silent Hill game. Silent Hill 2 was that kind of successful for a reason.
It says that it's the gateway into psychological battles with the human mind, but it's also the main character is a teenager, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like your front character is somebody that hasn't theoretically hasn't had the opportunity for a ton of trauma, but if it is a ton of trauma, like we're about to be dealing with some very, very dark trauma, I would assume, unless it's that once you're in the other world, you see everybody else from the village's own psychological battles playing out around you, and you have to, deal with and or resolve those. Which would be kind of... I could definitely
see that. I could see that, which, I mean, to be fair, you shared
Silent
Hill. You shared Silent Hill in the other games, too. There were always other people.
Yeah, but the other people saw a Silent Hill very different than what you saw. A Silent Hill's always tailored to the person who's
It's not Silent Hill, woman. You gotta remember to...
I understand, but you're also in part of a franchise, or else why not just make your own IP out of it? Why would you stick the Silent Hill name on it if you're not going to continue the theme of that franchise?
Well, it's almost like you're calling, at that point, you're calling... the fog itself Silent Hill versus before where it was an actual place you were at. And
which
so
I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the change of setting as long as it sticks to the same themes and like rule parameters that we have set up with that franchise.
Well, but I mean, it is set in the 1960s, so it could be a possibility. Has there ever been a game set earlier than that?
No. I think they've all been in the 90s.
So this could be a predecessor to all that and get you to where Silent Hill becomes a thing later on too. So they could be making a true prequel.
I always thought it was wasn't like a town specifically. I always thought it was more like just a dimension.
Yeah, that's
it is kind of a dimension. Which, having that kind of mindset, if you add one word to it, instead of it calling it Silent Hill, call it the Silent Hill.
Well, we know
could
Silent
be
Hill as a city or as a town actually existed. They did establish that. Like, it's established in lore that is a real place that exists.
Yes, it is.
It's just once you get through to the other world side of it, essentially, that's where it is. Like, once you've gone through that and you're in through the fog and everything, you're on the other side. So you're in a different dimension at that point.
That you could actually retcon that with not a lot of pressure. Where you're just in the purgatory version of Silent Hill. You can be in the purgatory version of this. Like, you could just... It was just... Like, this is just kind of their way of... It's always Silent Hill. But if they want to expand it, it's just going to be the purgatory version of Silent Hill.
I am interested
The
in
purgatory
the storytelling
version
that they want to do with this. Like, how much do you, because like Oak said, it is set in the 60s, so it's like, how much do you set up as this is, you know, whatever controls the other side, figuring things out on how to make the rules, essentially.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna have like an overarching kind of thing does it. I think it's.
I mean, I'm not saying that you give any like name or anything to the entity or whatever, because obviously that's getting ridiculous. But there is architecture in place, so.
Mm-hmm. I'm very, very, very curious on how they're gonna do it. As Silent Hill is one of those franchises that's been around forever.
It doesn't have a release date either. It makes me kind of sad because it's like stop hyping me up about something that you can't even tell me like roughly when I'm going to be playing it.
Or is this just a project title?
I don't know.
I think that's the actual name for it.
Yeah,
Silent
so
Hill.
is F for Fog?
No, I think it's supposed to be Forte.
Forte.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a musical nod.
Okay.
I feel like I'm gonna have to look that up. I feel like I read that somewhere, and now I can't remember where I read it, so I don't know if it's true.
You know, it would be brilliant if it was like if there was like a cemetery on the hill where you play music on it, but it's dead silent always because the dead can't hear, so it's always quiet on the hill. It's a silent hill.
I hate you.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Forte means loud.
It does.
Yeah, but the dead can't hear. So then it's an oxymoron in it. It's an oxymoron in the title.
I guess Silent Hill PMSNO it doesn't have the same ring to it.
Silent Hill loud, but it's quiet. I don't know. It's interesting. I want to see more, and I actually want to get my hands on it too. We'll probably end up getting this one in the next couple of years, if I had to guess. But they did it down to what, 2022. 2022.
They could be getting close then.
Yeah, maybe.
In 2022. You figure a 5-year mark, so maybe next year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm looking at theory crafting for why it's called that. F as in the chemical compound for fluorine that was a byproduct of the nuclear bombs that detonated that occurred in Japan in the 1940s. So 20 years later, you're still dealing with that.
Hey, we're all interested. Like, I'm definitely curious to see what they or what route they take with this one. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What we got next?
Sorry, I was still reading.
No, it's fine. On that same subject, because Bloober Team made Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team has showed off a little bit more of their Cronos: The New Dawn. Let's see if I can get this. Okay. As for Cronos, the enigmatic lead, the Traveler, which is the main guy that you saw, is just one group one of a group. Yeah. Described as divers in time, sent to explore the ruins of human civilization in search of time rifts. These enable them to extract people from the past who didn't survive the apocalypse. In Cronos' alternative timeline, the world ended in the 80s. Thanks to the aforementioned change, whatever that was in the world.
Cataclysmic event in the 80s in Poland.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Yes, perfect. So something happened in Poland that caused the entire world to end. And the resulting wasteland is populated by monstrous creatures known as the Orphans. These are remnants of humanity and can take on different forms, each with distinctive abilities. What connects each variant, however, is the fact that they're all still made of human tissue, introducing an element of body horror reminiscent of The Thing. Cool. Face punching, or let's see. Additionally, players can expect walls of flesh, face punching melee combat. I don't know what this means. Kinda flamethrowers. Dismemberment of sorts, and aliens, maybe. And ladders.
And ladders. Like, what is this about? I don't know what's happening here.
Let me turn my arm into a ladder.
But yeah, it's an open world survival, or it's an open world, survival horror game. So it's probably going to be, you're going to load into these rifts area, and you're going to have a giant exploration place that you've got to find the rift, whatever they're called, time rifts, and try to find the people that you're looking for. And you're gonna have to deal with plenty of other enemies. If Bloober Team does well with this one, I think they will solidify themselves in as like one of the horror companies, because they've done really well with Layers of Fear. They've done well with Silent Hill. Now, if they can get another hit on one of their individual IPs, good. I mean, I can see them kind of holding their own and then making more Silent Hills and just kind of becoming one of those companies that can reach the upper echelon of companies we could look forward to seeing releases from.
Wasn't it them that said it was like last year that they said that they were going to get out of psychological horror and go into something more like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought they were going to try to move out of horror entirely, but it looks like they want to go like a more action horror, like survival horror.
On top of that, they also are publishing a game under I think it's called Broken Mirror Games is their new label that they have for publishing. That's called I Hate This Place, which is based on a comic book series. It's got like the art style and everything is pretty awesome with it. And if it's already based on a famous comic book series, and they've got 2 games coming out at once, 2 different genres of games, that's going to be helpful for them as well too.
Yes.
Which I mean, both are technically in the horror, but one's going to be more realistic versus the other one that's cartoony.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely interested. Does Cronos have a release date? It's later
It's
this year, isn't it?
supposed to be later this year, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah. Due to arrive in Q4, in quotes. We'll see about that.
That's the I Hate This Place.
Oh, is it?
It's
Sorry, I
supposed
thought...
to do quarter
I thought it
4.
said previously announced.
Yeah, I Hate This Place will be quarter 4
Oh,
this
okay,
year.
okay.
Yeah.
The other one, it doesn't say. It just says
It
2025.
just says 2025.
So
Yeah,
also,
so-
we'll see.
But it is
about
going to be
that.
on everything with the exception of Switch.
I
So
wonder if...
Yeah, so-
Is it on... I wonder if
So
it's on,
I'm interested in how this one's going to do. So I like to see what Bloober can deliver these days.
yeah, it's good company.
Yes, they have proven
I'm
themselves pretty
interested. Is it not on... Can I not wishlist it on Steam? Come on, Nick.
well. What, Cronos?
Yeah, apparently... What's this? Isn't there like a little subtitle? Chronos something something.
A New Dawn.
The New Dawn.
The New Dawn. Okay, thank you.
Cronos, the New
I
Dawn.
don't see it.
And then it might not be on Steam yet.
Might not be.
They might not have a page for it yet.
It's kind of odd.
That is odd.
That is odd. I hope that does not mean...
Company.
I hope it doesn't mean that it's gonna be like a Epic
Epic
exclusive.
I doubt that. I doubt it, but I would not be entirely surprised.
Yeah.
I would like to see how much money Epic would throw at them to get that done, because if
I
you
do-
don't
I-
know at this point that not releasing on Steam hurts your sales, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you're just sad at that point
Yeah.
if you can't figure that out.
Yeah,
I-
that's just
I think I accidentally, because I was trying to find the Cronos thing, and Steam was like, "Oh, but do you want to look at this instead?" I just found a game that I think that we might need to put in Friday night rotation.
what is it? What's it called?
Just
Give me a
Die
name.
Already. Just Die Already is an old
Oh.
people mayhem sandbox game.
Yeah, I
Created by
saw
the
this one.
designers of Goat Simulator. You're old and angry, and you've just been kicked out of your retirement home. How will you survive in a world that wants you to just die already? It's $2.99 right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
What even? Like, do you just try to murder each other? Is it just...
Yes.
Key features: be old, be bold. You get to be an old person.
There's a fart button.
Break a leg, break a neck. Don't try this at your retirement home. One mission: retire.
I like the very first part of the trailer where they're running across the street and get hit by a car.
Only 4 players.
Is it? Lame.
Play alone or with 4 players and online complete challenges together.
It looked like it could be a bunch of people. Okay, fine then. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I am sad.
Sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I've seen that one a couple of times now.
Fine, whatever.
So sad.
Carry on. Sorry, I don't know
Alright.
why it suggested it to me. It has nothing to do with the thing I was looking up.
But yeah, that's what Bloober showed off.
Interested.
Yep. As usual.
I just want to know what, like, if I'm going through time, I can go collect important people. Who do
I
I get
know,
to
right?
collect? Like
Who do you? Who
important?
is? Yeah, let's say who's considered important?
For what purpose am I
historical?
collecting them? Is this just like a going into museum sort of thing, or is this like, oh, but they can fix the problem?
The only thing that was confusing to me is if you watch the video on that and like they're discussing it, is they go, okay, the only people that can enter these time refs are the traveler, and in order to get these people and bring them back. But then they also say the only people that can survive the future are the travelers. Well, if I'm bringing these people back, they're going to die no matter what. So why not
Yeah.
just leave them where they were? Game
Does
over.
that
Done. I won.
when they fall or when they get out of their time? Do they become a traveler if they are
They
pulled from
they
their
might.
timeline?
They might, but could be.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things
Or
where, like,
get, like a storage facility for them somewhere to be like, you can't go outside of this. And then that's
Yeah.
where their rift system is, right? So they can get
Yeah.
in and out of the different time level, maybe. But
I'm
I love
interested.
I love the design, the whole diver design that they've created because you're diving into time. That mentality,
Mhm.
I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Yes, neat stuff. Neat stuff.
Put yourself into their shoes. You're
All
awesome.
right. The last one, the last article that we have, which is pretty big news. The Communication Workers of America announces an industry-wide United Video Game Workers Union.
Okay.
Which we've been
It's
begging
U.S. and
for.
Canada, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
it's U.S. and Canada.
Okay, well, I think that our current administration's just gonna be like, nah, that's illegal, because we said so. Can't have you guys getting together. Disband it. Also,
Well, CWA
deport
is
half of
already in
them.
Canada. CWA is already in Canada, though.
Yeah.
They are, if I can, it was last year, I think it was, that the CWA was on strike. They're the ones that, like all your AT&T workers and all stuff like that, like your phone workers and all that last year that were on strike. That's the CWA, for communication stuff. I'm interested to see how this actually affects the industry. I'm glad that they're trying to unionize. I'm also interested to see how the bigwigs at EA, Ubisoft, even Microsoft react to this. Microsoft seems to be a little bit more pro union though, comparatively, when it comes to some of their workers. Anyway, I don't know that they want it in.
Yeah, we'll see.
parts
I
of
know
it.
they're very contractor heavy.
Right.
So, I mean, they'll probably be able to work with the unions to get the people that they need, but they're probably going to have to pay a whole lot more. It's either you could pay contractors like 5 times the amount you would pay your normal worker, but you're going to have to like commit to having your normal workers. So it's up to you, whichever way you want to do. Either hire a crew that you're going to keep, or pay a lot of money for contractors that you could let go and hire back on as you need. So up to you.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that to me,
Right.
that's kind of a fine idea. You've got your main crew, and then you can bring in 1 or 2 or like a dozen or so help contractors to help them finish out, and then you can let them go. Kind of bring in as many as you need, and then you can let go as you don't. So,
Well,
but you've
and I
got your
think
main group.
that's the thing. Like I've said before, with the movie industry, it's so fine tuned because they've figured out their budgets before they ever start production, because whoever it is that's paying for it has to have a budget set up together. Games, to me, and I get that there's a different creativity thing that's going on there, but some of it's going to be similar. You usually have somebody that's already created a plot line, writing, whatever, if you're talking about either a single player game or some type of story based game. And then you can go, it's going to take this amount of people to create what's happening. I feel like eventually we'll be able to fine tune that, and that will help the cause for the union, and also be able to find jobs for people across the industry. Versus, which is what they do. They go, okay, we just need this amount of people. They go to a union. The union says, okay, we've got this amount of people to send you, and then they send them. Which maybe it'll end up working that way. I don't know. But like you said, you'll have those that work for the company itself that are always going to be there. Those are going to be your usually higher ups and probably your lead designers, writers, all that type of stuff. And then you fill in the spots afterwards.
Yeah.
But
And make sure those people are protected, get paid well, all of that stuff, which is nice because then they know that they're going to be let go afterwards. They know that it's like, all right, cool, I'm done with this job. I go back to my union. They're going to get me another job. Cool. It's kind of like what I believe Ollie does is that the people that he works for bring him jobs and then he can do them and then he's done and then he just waits for his next job. I think that's how he works from the
yeah, it's
time
like
we've
it's a
talked.
contract employee. Here's how much your contract is. This is what we expect of you for that contract. Once you've completed the job, you're paid, you're done, you can move on to your next contract. Which is, to me, if you unionize that in that respect, they already know, okay, we've got this amount of schedule or we've got this amount of time left over. Because I think that's the reason it creates part of the crunch issue. Okay, this is going to be a 5-year project. We're going to need this amount of people and move through it where, a movie or a TV show, they shoot for like 6 to 8 months for TV shows. And I want to say it's like 4 months for movies usually. So they have an idea of how long it's going to take them and then they budget out accordingly, which you could do the same thing with this in theory later on once they get that honed down. But right now I just feel like it's still wild, wild west in game creating, but we're far enough along now that it shouldn't be. So
Hey.
this will be nice.
Yes, for sure.
We have a lot of feels.
Yes, well, we'll get to see how this plays out for the rest of this year, I'm sure, because what was it? It was over 25,000 employees have lost their jobs and since the start of 23.
The problem
That's a lot of fucking people.
Well, it has, but it is one of those where keep in mind some of those people have gotten their jobs back somewhere else.
That is true.
And that's what it should be.
I wouldn't say getting their job back. They found a new job.
They found a new job in the industry more than likely. So it's because somebody else is on there and then they've gotten let go. And it was based on a study that was done of how many people have lost their job since 2023. But we don't know what the other details are. And it could be to where, there's 25,000 that have lost their job in one way or another at one place they've been at. But they've netted, maybe there's 3,000 people that still haven't gotten a job back. Or maybe there's 20,000 people that still haven't got a job back. We don't know that number.
Yeah, and that's also trying to be like, well, and then we assume that nobody else has lost their job since then. What's the plus and negatives that have been in the thing? Maybe more people have lost their jobs now. Maybe nobody has lost their job now. Like without knowing all of the information, it's hard to kind of gauge where things have landed now.
There's a net somewhere, and it's either a negative or a positive, and that's what you have to look at.
Exactly, because I highly doubt it's been even. I highly doubt it. Something tells me that there's no way you're going to get it even.
No, definitely not. Which, I mean, a lot of those jobs we expected to go away after, the games that got delayed from 2020 and had to be pushed into 2023 and all that.
Yeah.
Which is why we ended up with fantastic games that year. But, all right. We're going to talk about what we're going to play. What we got?
That's all the news.
Yeah.
Because that was it. That was the news.
Very, very slow week.
An average of 10 minutes per article, basically.
That's not too bad.
It's really not. We're just used to the 2-hour-long shows because we'll have like 5 or 6 of those. And then...
Oh, don't worry. We could talk for 2 hours if you want.
No, I'm good.
We probably will now that we've...
Now that we said that.
We're pretty much done. We're going to get on a conversation that we're all getting really into. Yeah. That's how it usually happens here.
Facts.
Okay, well, what's everybody been playing then? Fine.
Fine.
Let me open up my Steam. See what I've been playing.
Got to open up the Steam. While you'll do that, I'll talk about what I've played.
Okay.
Same thing that I've been playing a good amount of Mines of Moria, Horse for Friends. We've gotten deeper into the game. Last night we found the last piece of something that we have to look for in the game. We found the last piece of it, but now we've got to find a thing to be able to create. Now that we got all the pieces, we gotta figure out how to use it. But the game itself really well built. It's fun. But the thing I'm most excited about, which 2 of you have heard nothing about, heard everything about recently. I picked up Splitgate, and I wanted to pick it up on release.
Split Fiction.
Sorry, Splitgate. I also played, by the way, the alpha on it. But Split Fiction, and I played it with my daughter. We beat it. It took us roughly 13, 14 hours to go through the game. It's really well done in the fact that they've created two characters with different personalities, and you have to force them to work together. Their mentality is different as well. If you've played It Takes Two, it's very similar in that respect, and the fact that you got two people that have different personalities. The difference is It Takes Two, you're talking about a married couple looking at getting a divorce versus two people that just met on the spot and now have to work together that have two different mentalities on life. But the main concept of the game is basically these two get lost in their own worlds because they're both writers. They get lost into their own worlds, and you have to play through each one of them's world. And the storyline is based on, you've got one that's a sci-fi person, one's a fantasy person. The fantasy doesn't really care for sci-fi. She thinks it's very dark and gloomy and doesn't care for it. And the sci-fi person doesn't really care for fantasy all that much. And so it's just kind of them kind of talking back and forth about that as you play through. They did a really good job, and they did this a little bit on Takes Two. Takes Two had mini games. When you're playing with somebody, you can play these mini games in certain parts of it. But what they did instead of mini games in this one is they did side stories. So you have this main story that might take you an hour or 2 hours to complete. And in somewhere in there, you'll have these side stories that are completely optional. You don't have to play them. Mm-hmm. That'll be the opposite of whatever genre you're currently playing in. So if it's a sci-fi story you're currently going through, it'll be a fantasy story that's this side story. And you'll go through and play those. And there's some type of little short story, basically, that they're based on. Gameplay-wise, a lot of platforming. So if you're not a big person on platforming, just keep that in mind. It is a lot of platforming. There's majority of the game, though, is kind of third-person action adventure style, the way that it's done, and then there's elements of the other. It is extremely, just like all of his games are. You have to be able to cooperate, communicate, and I enjoyed it. My daughter, who's 13 years old, her and I play games very similarly. It was awesome because there was some communication when we had to figure something out, but for the most part, it was just we did it. Like there wasn't a whole lot of talking, and I know she has gaming experience, but I see the game she plays. You know what I mean? And I've not seen her play this style of game before, and it was so cool to watch that she caught on so quickly. And I was like, okay, her gaming chops are a lot better than I thought they were. And it was really neat to see because this is not a normal game that she would play. She likes just regular story-based, almost walking simulator games for the most part.
Well, it's time to move on. Time to get
right?
out to the more difficult ones.
But she really enjoyed this. She loved the storyline. She loved the characters. I'm going to base everything off her review. Her review was 11 out of 10. Would play again. That's what she said. As soon as we got done, she loved it. We did. It was great. If you know somebody you want to play with, of course, they've done what they've done with the last few games, which is only one person has to own it. And this is the first one that's completely cross-plat, so you do not have to own the same system in order to be able to play it with the other person. So, which is quite nice. Where It Takes Two, you had to be on the same platform, but and I think No Way Out, same thing, right? So,
yep.
But this was really good. Highly recommend. Beautiful, beautiful game. Would not be surprised if it was in a lot of people's game of the year at the end of the year. Old Man played it, who is somebody I would never have thought would have played this game in a million years. Got done with it. He said it took him 15 hours with the person he was playing with. And he was like, that was an absolutely amazing game. And he absolutely loved it. And he goes, it was insane. I was like, yep, there's some mind-blowing parts. There's stuff in there I've never seen in any game ever.
Yes. He spoke of things that you'd be super impressed by. So.
Yeah. So it's like, and I was like, yep, it was awesome. Definitely recommend.
Would recommend. Cool.
Yes, would recommend.
I just don't I like the idea of it, but I don't know if I'm platformery enough.
You'd be fine.
That's what you think. Well, I mean,
You'd
I
be
know that
fine.
you're already, like, you've probably already wishlisted it, so if it goes on sale, we might try it out, I guess.
Well, we only need one copy, which is the best part.
Your favorite part?
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
It's like a BOGO. It's
Uh,
already. I don't even think it's. Is it a $60 game? I don't remember how much I paid for it.
Yeah, I think it is. I have it open right here. Let me pop this open.
He's looking at a Steam. Everybody's cheating.
Yeah, it's $50.
$50. Oh, that's not bad at all then.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's a great game. This is a great game. You should play this game. You should play this great game. Got it. It's a great game.
Is it a great game?
It's a great game.
I don't believe you. That
It's
could be bot spams.
It could be, but every person on this is a masterpiece. Welcome to Game of the Year. Good luck, 2025. This is another It Takes Two. So,
High praise.
Slate developers again. Wow. Huh.
What?
You know what I
Just
like
reading
about
through
it
these-
too, though? We hear about his games like we'll hear about his game a little bit before it's released, but usually it's like December for Game Awards. He'll do his trailer then, and then sometime within 6 months we get that game.
Mm-hmm. Well,
There's
he
I
does it
think I
right.
talked about last time how people talk about it, and for 8 years we don't have shit, and then finally,
Yeah,
it's
because I think
similar.
he showed it off at the Summer Games Fest. I think it was last year's Summer Game
we
Fest,
first
and then,
saw it at Summer Games, and then we got
he showed it again.
the gameplay trailer. I think was for Game Awards, and then we got the
and
release.
then it
date
was
in March.
released like not long afterwards. It's like, hey, look
Not
at this
even a
guy.
year.
Knows what the fuck he's doing.
Mhm.
Announce it, show off trailers and gameplay, release it all within a year. Good
Mhm.
job, bro. You got it. You figured out the formula. Now, if only some of the which blows my mind that they work with EA. It's like, how does EA let you do the right thing? Like,
Well,
and how do
it's-
they just like not even worry about anything else?
It's an EA original, which they have the original system, which basically is them publishing, like some type of independent companies, indie studios stuff, projects that they've partnered with.
Mhm.
And so that's the only thing I can figure out. So if you're an actual one of their studios, all the pressure's on you. But if you're one of the indies, technically all they're worried about is publishing it and getting it done. And in his case, they're not. I don't think they'll ever pressure him
No, hell no.
Unless he has
I don't
one-
think they could.
unless he has one game that's a total fuck up that nobody's gonna get, nobody's gonna buy, whatever. I don't see them pressuring for that stuff. Like, I don't know how that contract's written, but
I don't even know if they could, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty sure he would legitimately tell them to piss off.
well, I mean,
Like, I feel like he's just that kind of person. We'd be like,
first
have I ever
introduction
let you
to him
down?
was him saying "fuck the Oscars" back in the day. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, when he walked in, he's like, fuck Jim, you need to watch us. It's like, brother man, what the hell? Where's the wheelbarrow you wheeled out on? Because
we're
holy
coming in
shit.
hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes a good game. There's some fun Easter eggs in the game as well. There is a level that is
I was wondering if you're going to bring this up.
there was a level that no one had discovered during the playing of the game, and then recently, I think it was last week, someone finally found the level, and it is extremely hard and convoluted, evidently, to beat. But two guys beat it, and it was it was the Willy Wonka golden ticket. It was so he is flying those guys to their studio, and they get a full tour and everything else at the studio, which I think that's pretty awesome.
And there's a trailer for their next game.
Oh, really?
It's a secret. Yeah.
It's
Like,
a
I think you can. I think if I read that article right, if you as a people, you go and find that level and you beat it, there's a teaser for their next game at the end of it.
Huh.
Interesting.
So, I mean, you could probably go to YouTube. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. You could
YouTube-
probably go to
YouTube
YouTube
now,
and find
but
it. But back in the old days, we used to actually do things in the video games for ourselves to show how good we were. But nowadays, it's just YouTube it. It's like, whatever, I get it. But yeah, apparently, I thought that was kind of neat that he went ahead and did something like that.
It
Super
kind of
secret,
reminds me
very
of
difficult
like
game.
it kind of reminds me of like Ready Player One, where they were talking about how the Easter eggs first got into games. and then talking about like the challenges in order to be able to win and all that type of thing. That same mentality is with this. I thought it was pretty neat. That was kind of a cool premise to just be like, oh, here's this, and you're actually really going to win something out of it.
Yeah, that is pretty neat.
Mm.
Well,
What does everybody else play?
What about you, Griff? What do you played? Come on now.
Fallout. I really want to be playing it right now. I'm gonna do all the DLC this time, and I've gotten to a point where I feel like I'm ready to go do some DLC, and I've learned that I can adopt dogs in one of the DLCs, so I have things that I need to be doing. Another settlement needs my help. Preston, I'm gonna need you to hold on. A dog needs my help right now.
You have dog meat.
Yeah,
the
but
best
I can
boy.
have friends for him. He can have
Yeah,
like a
that's
whole
true.
dog gang.
Dog
So-
meat and the dog bros.
Can you put guns on all of them?
I don't think anything that you can put on dog meat, I would assume you can put on them too, because you can give them like bandanas and stuff. From all I've read, I haven't done this part before, but
Yeah, can you
I
have
was just
more
thinking of
than
a dog
one
army. You
companion,
just
though?
roll in and like all these dogs come
no,
in.
I can have a dog settlement if I want, Baka.
Oh, nice.
Which I
Dog
will.
settlement.
I will have a whole like abandoned dogo.
It sounds
place.
like you need a mod to have more than one companion, so that way you can just have an army of dogs follow you.
That'd be pretty funny. Like just rolling through
Oops,
the
all
Commonwealth
Army of dogs.
with my pack.
To be fair, it would probably be an improvement on humanity.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
I'm just saying. So
Less nukes being fired.
that's true.
Don't talk to me about the nukes.
That's just mainly because they don't have opposable thumbs, but
I mean, I'd be fine with that though, because I'm so
Yeah.
tired of walking through the Commonwealth and I just hear a whistle and I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from and there's no way I'd dodge it. I'm gonna die, and then you explode because somebody, like that you never saw over there, has a fat man and they just launched the mini nuke at you. Guess I'll just die. Like, yeah, guess you will.
I mean, you could be like me. If I hear it, I can dodge it. If I don't hear it, I die. That's how it works.
I hear it and sometimes I'm like, where is it coming from? Explosion. You're like,
See, that's
well,
why if
closer
I
than I
hear
thought.
If I hear it, I know where it's coming from. It's coming from this direction. If I don't hear it, it just blows me up.
Okay, well that's not fair. That's because you already have a satellite dish, and you know.
Yeah,
hold on. There's a cheat code for that because all you got to do is take one off and set it back
Well,
here.
that's
Oh.
So
true.
if you hear it,
Yeah, trust me, it works. I've lived my whole life like that. If I hear something, it's over here.
Well,
If not, then well, that's why I'm not very good at VRs.
that we played Back for Blood last night. Actually, again, it was me and Baka, Cat and Chicken, and we're playing the DLC, which we also have never played before. But I've been playing a DLC character the whole time, so now we're to the last DLC is the characters where my character came from, so it's her story, and we're trying to save my brother, and I'm like, oh, that's who that guy was, because he was in the previous DLC, but your character because this character was not made in that DLC, she did not say anything when that happened. So when this person showed up, my character wasn't like, oh, hey, it's my brother. And this one, it's like, oh, yeah, you remember that guy that saved you? Yeah, that's her brother. And I'm like,
Huh.
okay, good thing I didn't recognize my own sibling there. Great. You know?
Well, you weren't
I didn't
thought
exist
of
yet.
back then.
It's like time traveling. Being the last DLC character, you're just a time traveler until you get there.
I will say that the game's DLC took a route I was not expecting.
Yeah, no,
I thought this was a zombie game. It is not a zombie game. It goes more towards Gears of War style Locust than it does zombies.
Really?
Yeah.
And trust me, that first
all
DLC, you're like, oh, there are sniper zombies? What the? Okay,
There are
there are
archer
smart
zombies,
ones.
and it's like, no, they're not zombies. They're
They're
cultists.
they're cultists.
And the parasite has different like levels of which it can infect. So brainless all the way up to functional, because the cult leader's also infected but functional.
Yep.
It's
do
wild.
they
Yeah.
degrade to the other one? Like, are they basically a stronger zombie and then become
No,
weaker?
it's
Or
just
is it-
whenever they get the parasite put up their nose, that's what they become.
Yeah, it goes in your nose.
They get fully infected. And what is it? What is the main lady called? The
Something of worms, queen of worms, or
God,
daughter of
Queen
worms,
of
or
Queen of Worms.
something of worms. And it's like, cause that's what it's the big worm is where it's all coming from. So
Yeah.
disgusting.
It very very much reminds me of
Mother of
Slither.
Worms.
Yes, Slither. I would also agree with it.
Mother of worms.
But that's neat. I'm looking forward to playing the rest of that. Getting a cult
Yeah.
involved and
I feel like they like had this idea when they were first making it, and then they decided to now make like into the DLC make the
actual
overarching
plot.
story, yeah, into like 2 packs of DLC, and then kind of shove it in there. And it's like I like that where
it's
we're
what
going.
they do with Dragon Age, where it's like, okay, so you've completed the game and you feel pretty satisfied. And okay, well here's the DLC, and the last DLC that we're releasing actually pushes you into the next game and is the intrigue for that. Oh, but we got canceled before it came out. Well,
they didn't. Well,
you know, like.
Well, Back 4 Blood didn't get canceled.
Well, no, I guess it didn't get canceled. It just didn't.
They just moved on. No, it did well, and they supported it. They're just done with it.
What?
They're
Okay,
moving
well
on to
then
their
they
next
better
project.
wrap up my Queen of whatever
Mother of Worms
stuff.
No, we haven't finished the game yet, so
I know.
Yeah,
but
we've
I'm
still
saying
got a
they better.
little bit more to
But I
go.
want to see more cult stuff. Like, let's go back to that.
I know, right? Now that you've gotten me into this like cult intrigue, and I'm leaning towards Gears of War style story, it's like I want to see more. I want to feel like this whole story
It's
part.
like they heard all of the zombie games are played out thing and went, okay, it's a zombie game until it isn't. And the thing is, like, I don't think most people stuck with it until it wasn't. I mean, not that
Yeah.
I'm like, aha, they suck so bad. It was like, oh, that's unfortunate that you waited until the DLC to really get into that aspect of it instead of kind of peppering that in along the way. Because I think that would have, for people who enjoy story in the games like that, would have been really neat to have that growth.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, it was hinted at just a bit beforehand, with how they were taking the bodies and amalgamating them into other things, and the
Yes.
whole nut thing.
Yeah, the nasty thing there at the end, or
Yeah.
the giant worm underground and whatnot.
But I think that we didn't really know. I think that was a byproduct of, wasn't that? Because I thought it was a byproduct of the government not really knowing what to do with all of the dead bodies, so they were just piling them up together, and then it did it on its own kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's not like anybody knew or it wasn't purposeful, but it was happening.
I think the
Well,
best way that I
even
could.
the nest,
Yeah.
the nest they make were made out of the flesh and biomass of things.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I just feel like it doesn't feel cohesive enough. Like it connects well enough, but it feels like as they wrote the story, they were like, oh, this, and then they just kept adding on to the end instead of making it make sense all the way through. Which it does make sense, but it just doesn't feel cohesive. And I will use Gears to as a similar thing because it is very similar. Hive-minded species from whatever. This one is from Antarctic, right? There's
Yeah,
a parasite.
I think it was a glacial
Yeah.
melt kind of thing.
Yeah, and a parasite got loose, and now it's basically doing this, which is very similar to that. But in Gears of War, you felt that entire cohesion through the story. This one, it was like, this is where we want to go. Oh, let's make it like this. Okay, so that's good. But it doesn't feel like it connects the whole thing. It feels like different steps instead of just one smooth story. But I liked it. I wanted to see more of it.
I hope that we
If
get
they-
to play more of it. Like, part of me is a little like, oh, Red's gonna be around tonight because then we can't finish it, and I really want to finish it.
Well, we'll play it next time.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm interested. It's got me pretty good. The whole cult
yeah.
twist and more story to it. It was like, oh, this is
People
more than just
feeding
your.
the big worm thing. Like, stop feeding it. You people.
That was
are
the mother of
lunatics. I
worms.
know. Stop feeding it. It's gonna eat
But she
you.
is it. Like that is that.
I'm,
That is
I'm
it.
gonna call it now. If it's anything like Slither, the main parasite is going to be in her.
Oh,
Well, probably.
100% guaranteed. And I
Yeah.
will be so upset and mad that if we just, like, if it's one act, they introduce her, the queen, the mother of worms, and then you kill her at the end. It's just like, oh, wow. How anticlimactic.
Maybe we don't. Maybe it'll be my estranged sibling that I'm super close to and now on a mission.
Even
to
then,
find.
like, you introduced this great story and then, like, killed it off right at the end. It's like,
Yeah.
ugh. I would have rather you left it open to interpretation or just left it alone so that you could
My
do
guess
something
is it
later than
is.
just.
I bet it is
just-
kind of left open to. Oh, look, this can have a resurgence. You guys can't. You four cleaners. Well, four. You, however many we've accomplished that they're accumulated at this point, have saved the entire world. Good job. Like, I don't think they're gonna let us do that.
No, I hope not. Ugh, how anticlimactic would that be?
Oh, we did that. That was fun. I don't know what else we've been doing. We've been doing like, oh, we played Fast Food Sim. Yeah, we've been running a burger shop. It's been. It starts out slow. Like you're like, okay, you make a burger, or it's a burger with 2 patties, and you have to just make sure that you don't burn it and that you put all of the buns on it red. Do not send burgers
Yeah, he
out.
actually he legitimately got fired from burger making. He picked up 4 of them, and I was like, "Well, that's it. You're done making burgers. You go back up
The
front."
first one he didn't put a top bun on. He just wrapped it up, and once it's wrapped, you can't unwrap it to fix it or look at it to see what it is. So like you have to hope that whoever made it did it right. He forgot the top bun. I think later he put on 2 top buns instead of a top and a bottom.
Yep.
I'm not really sure. He did 4 of them that were not right though, and we're like, all right, look, go take the orders. Somebody else is gonna do this.
Yep.
Yep. I think you can have up to 6, and
Yep. 6 people in that one.
so far we've done 5 is the most because yeah, Red was there for one of them. But it does get more complicated as it goes because it's like, okay, here's your burger, cool. All right, do we get fries next? No. Next you get ketchup. But you have to see how many squirts of ketchup they want. And some of these people are weird. They're like, I want 4 squirts of ketchup. It's like, do
No,
you
it's up to
want
3.
the
Up to
burger
3.
with this ketchup that you're gonna
3.
have? Okay, 3. It's 4 pickles that you can put on there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Ketchup's
some of it's
still,
like
3 squirts of ketchup, still a lot of ketchup.
yeah,
It
well,
is a
wait till
lot
you
of
get 3
ketchup.
squirts of ketchup, and then later you've unlocked mayo, so it's 3 squirts of mayo too, and you're like, do you want?
Oh, don't worry.
like,
Wait till you
I
get
could've
3
just
squirts
put
of
this-
mustard, 3 squirts of mayo, 3 squirts of
You're,
ketchup,
just,
with
you're
4
basically
pickles, 3
just
lettuces, a bunch of
ripping
onions,
the
and
sauce
tomato.
off this burger. It's disgusting. Y'all
There'll
are
be a
nasty.
special sauce probably later on too. So then you got like 3 squirts of everything, and it's just dribbling
It's
off.
also like the ice. The drink is like, okay, what kind of drink do they want? But they also either want no ice, 1 ice cube, or 2 ice cubes, and you're like, you're gonna get the
I'll-
ice I put in this cup, okay?
You got
I'll
some
be
pretentious
honest.
people.
Yeah, like this game's difficulty. I've played a lot of games in my days, but this game's skill curve is probably one of the most steep that I have ever seen. Because, like she said, you go from just a burger to a burger with ketchup. Now, any of these could be double. Then you go from a burger, ketchup, lettuce. Then you go burger, ketchup, lettuce, mayo. Burger, ketchup, lettuce, mayo, pickles. Burger, lettuce, ketchup, mayo, pickles,
Onions.
tomato, then onions,
onions
then
first.
fries,
Yeah.
then drinks, then drive-through, and then you've got to manage all of these different orders all at the same time. First of all, major respect to the people who work in fast food, man. Kudos, you guys. You fucking, it's
Yes.
difficult.
So my question is it like the other Sims where you can end up like hiring people to help?
Only
can,
3,
yes.
and they're in the non-important roles too. They can
Yes.
either serve or take orders.
Or bus tables.
That's it. Yeah, or bus tables.
Those
and
are the
that's
3
it.
roles you can hire them for. So you can't hire like a cook. You still have to manage the grill. You can overcook the burgers.
Yep,
they
which you
have a
can't
doneness
use.
percentage. Yeah. There's like anything that's over like 108, they don't like they'll complain about and not pay for.
And then they have cheese that you'll have to cook one side, then flip it over when it gets to 100%. Put cheese on that cooked side while the bottom cooks, and you melt the cheese on the top. And then
So,
you've
like,
got like,
legit making a freaking cheeseburger.
yes, like I said, the skill ceiling is like whoop.
And then they're
It's
gonna
like,
give us
holy
we
shit,
haven't
man.
unlocked we haven't unlocked the chicken stuff yet. So there's chicken nuggets and chicken burgers that we have not unlocked yet. And the fries we unlocked when we played the demo, but we haven't unlocked them since. And they, like the ice cream, have a temperature. So like you can't make the ice cream as soon as you take the order and wait for the person making the burger to bring you the burger because the ice cream's gonna melt, right? You have to wait until it's ready so that you put the ice cream on last and then take it, or else they're upset about it. And in the demo, the french fries were the same way. They had a warmer that they could sit in, but there was a finite amount of time that they could sit in the warmer too. So you have to like micromanage all of this stuff.
Wow.
I know. And
Like-
you have to make sure your oil's good, like your frying oil and whatnot. So like midday, you may have to drain out your fry thingy so that you can refill.
It's like I said, I've played a lot of games in my day, but the skill curve in this game is just crazy high, man.
Yeah, you're like, the first 2
There's-
days, you're like, this shit's so boring. And then by day 3 or 4, you're like, oh my God, please, what's happening?
The person making the burgers is like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too much. And when you have the drive-through, you've got to have separate people making
We have
burgers
not
on
gotten
different
to the
sides.
drive-through yet, so I'm afraid. It's level 15. I'm afraid of unlocking the drive-through.
Yeah, it's
So
like,
wait, you have 2 different people making burgers, one for the drive-through, one for the front
You
desk?
don't have to, but
it's gonna be way too hard because you're gonna have the screens you can set up for. It's like one is for front counter and one is for drive-through, so that you
Right.
can keep them separate. And you can have one person go, this is for this one right here. I'm gonna mark it for table 6. I'm gonna go put it over here. Whoever the fuck is running trays can grab this one. They know what table it's supposed to go for. I gotta make this one right here for the drive-through. Now the problem with the drive-through. Okay, your customer comes in, they have a timer, a patience timer. When you
don't-
take
it's
their
hidden.
order,
you don't see it. So
yeah, you don't see
know
it.
How long
And they'll wait there for 2 minutes. You take their order, they go sit down, that timer resets for another 2 minutes. Cool. So you've got 2 separate pieces. The drive-through, no. The moment you take their order, the timer starts and it never resets. So you only have 2 minutes to get theirs. Like as soon as you take the drive-through order, you've got to hurry up and get it done and get it out to them.
I'm
like,
interested to see
it's-
how that's gonna work when we unlock it, like because you have to
Is
plan
there a
their
spot
orders.
for an expediter? This needs an expediter. So one person's reading the screen and going, I need this, and this.
That's
for
what we've
the
been
front
doing.
desk."
Like that's kind of what Chicken was doing when we had 5 of us. Is Kat was cooking the burgers, Virtue was making the burgers, I was doing the serving and bussing, Red was taking the orders, and Chicken was basically like keeping everybody's shit together.
Mhm.
Like, okay, now for table 6 we needed this and this and this. Have you put this on this burger? You know, kind of thing. Where it's like,
Yeah, make sure you mark the table number for the burgers because we have to keep shit organized. If you don't mark it, then we don't know where it goes, and then you can't open it. You can't see what's on it. You just
yeah,
So you have to manually put which one is on there?
yeah, like you click on it and it lets you assign a table number essentially for it.
yeah. So after you
So-
make it, it says label, and you have to label it for the table because it'll tell you what table it is in your little order thing, and then you can label it as that table. So you'll see it. It'll be like hamburger, and then it'll tell you table 8, and
But
you're
these
like,
people
okay.
only order one item, like one combo or whatever per table. So like, dude comes in, dude orders one burger, no drink, no ice cream, and goes and sits down and manifests a friend that just shows up at the table, like out of their chest, I guess. The other person doesn't eat, so it's not like you have to order, like keep up with which order goes to which person or anything. It's only one thing that's coming to the table. And
Yeah.
I feel bad for all of those people like sitting across the table watching you eat, and they're just like, thanks, man. Glad to be here with you.
Yeah, we've also made our own home lore too because we play so often. I love it. Okay, so me and Griff were playing our game at one point, and it was close time, and usually one last customer will come in at close.
Like right
and
at close.
They came in right at close and went to the farthest seat away from us, like the farthest back seat, and
the
sat by
corner.
themselves. Didn't manifest a friend or nothing. Just sat by themselves all the way in the back and ordered like a hamburger. And I was like, okay, fine. It's a real suspect there. I see you sitting there. Okay, so they leave, and the first customer in the morning by themselves came and sat at the same table. And I'm like, man, that's a drug to you.
drink too. Yeah, like they
Yeah,
ordered a drink
like,
and sat at the far table by themselves. Like, this is a drug
Oh,
deal.
homie's getting a pickup this morning. He grabbed what brother man left last night.
And it doesn't happen all of the time. But when it does, we're like, look, it happened again. We're the drug deal
Yes.
central. Welcome to
Yes,
Thick Buns.
it's-
You can definitely use that booth for whatever it is that you're doing. I promise I'm not looking.
Thick buns.
That's what I named it. It's funny. You have to name your restaurant. Like, that's part of the thing. When you
That's part
start
of the
thing,
tutorial.
it makes you name it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, mine's thick
Yeah.
buns.
But yeah, it's been fun for the most part.
Yeah.
It's so boring in the beginning, but then it just ramps up so bad. You're like, this is just miserable.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, there's so much. You need people. Because good God.
I think that's mostly what I've been doing. / we, I guess.
What about you, Baka? What have you been playing?
My Marvel Rivals. Finally, I think maybe I've gotten it to where it starts fucking crashing.
Yay!
That shit was getting irritating.
Yes, it was. I
lose.
hate losing games because you DC at the end.
Yeah.
No,
Or in the middle of it, right in an important team fight, you see Baka just running off into the sunset, and you're like, oh, there he goes again. Could have used that DPS. Oh well.
There he goes again.
Yeah, I've been doing that, and then the Yuden Chronicles. I'm
That's
still working
the-
on getting all
How many people you got now?
over 100, I think now.
Oh my god.
Isn't there
that's-
118?
No more.
Look, for
Okay.
Baka being so
100.
antisocial in real life, look how social he can be in a game. He has gathered 100 friends.
No, it's not friends. It's recruits.
No.
He hires
Yeah,
recruits.
exactly.
Those are besties.
They're fucking working. No, they're
Yeah,
fucking
let's say
working.
that's cannon fodder.
That's can't-
More cannon fodder, the better.
I've got to go back and train the little fuckers so that they can do better in the battles, so we can win the wars.
Yeah, but the
Exactly.
training is like bonding time. That's why you guys are going to be best friends now.
The fuck it is.
Okay, so just as social in real life as he is in game.
There
Exactly.
you go.
You work for me and I don't care. Do the thing I said.
That's right. If you listen to me right, then you'll come back and get to go on about your life.
Otherwise, you'll die, and then, well, whatever.
Good
My,
riddance.
my total goes down. Then I don't have 100. I'll have 99.
Yeah.
Just don't die.
Which in the old Suikoden games, you could actually lose characters in those battles. I don't know about this game. It's done by the same people who did them,
So
but in the
probably.
old Suikoden games, if you do any of the military battles, and you lost a company that had a character in it, there was a chance that they could die permanently.
Woo.
That would be unfortunate.
Yes, it would.
Now
Very-
that's why I've been going back and leveling them.
Just to make sure that they don't.
I'll take like 2 or 3 out of my main party and throw 2 in there or whatever, and just do a bit of grinding and help them level up.
Well, I think that's all,
That it?
all of it. Yeah.
Chicken got his in, right?
Did I? What did I talk about?
I don't
Well, I
know.
was
That's what I'm
gonna
asking.
ask-
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I haven't
Fast
played
food
anything.
sim.
Yeah, fast food sim. I'm looking through my playlist.
I mean, you haven't played the island.
You
all
haven't
yet.
looked down.
Marvel Rivals I played. Oh yeah. On Friday night we played 15 games of Marvel Rivals. We won 10 of them. 2 losses were because Baka DC, and that's okay. But the other 10 games that we won, I got 4 MVPs as the support. That's right, a 40% MVP ratio. Yeah, I was on fire.
But
I was on fire. I'll take my brags. I have my ups and downs and whatnot, but Friday night I was on fire.
I did pretty well Friday. I did.
Mhm.
I made a lot of people wish they weren't playing characters that had ults so they could be turned off.
I sacrificed Griff twice that she knew of.
He did. I watched my death. I'm standing right next to him, and he's too busy as the support, too busy murdering somebody than to heal me. Like, come on, I could have murdered them, but nah.
No, I mean he made up for it by keeping my ass alive while I beat the shit out of everyone as the Hulk.
Exactly.
Till you
Hey,
You
sometimes
the back line and cause chaos.
no bias, people. No bias. I play to win, even if I have to sacrifice my own wife's character. Play to win. To be fair, everybody was great though. Everybody was carrying themselves very well, and it was great stuff.
You're welcome that I wasn't there Friday night.
Also, I just got into a testing game. I haven't gotten to try it yet. It's called Terminal Brigade. It's another roguelikes seem to be kind of popping up here and there, but it's a hero shooter roguelike game. It's like Marvel Rivals meets Risk of Rain.
Which is
Where
weird, but it's not PvP.
You have... It's not PvP. You have heroes that they have their special abilities and whatnot, like your typical roguelike game.
Okay.
And it's you. The lore is it's a video game that people were playing. It's a VR game that was infected with a virus, and now you have the heroes go into the game and try to fight off the virus that's inside infecting the systems.
Is that part co-op or is it single?
Yes, it's
co-op?
co-op. It's co-op.
Okay.
It's a co-op game too.
4, 2,
3, I think right now, maybe
It's so
2.
weird. They
Why-
keep starting
3
at
is just-
3.
I still feel
Okay.
like people have 2 friends and that's all they.
Me and my
And so they were like, "We know it, and we don't want you to have a rando in there, so that's what you get. It's you and your 2 friends."
Dead Zone Rogue, Dead Zone Rogue is now 4-player in their little play testing branch. So, because I'm sure people complained enough about it, but there's only 3 heroes available right now, and it's a Singaporean game too. So, they make you read the. And I like their. I read the end user license agreements, and I read the privacy stuff, and they have like little.
He doesn't read instructions on how to play games or go through tutorials, but the rest of that he reads. The stuff we ignore, he reads. The stuff
Yes.
that you're supposed to read, no.
Exactly. But in their little licensing agreement and whatnot, they've got little things underneath the headers that are basically sums it up. I think under their game usage policy, it's like, for you normal gamers, you probably don't have to worry about anything in this category as long as you're a decent player and don't really do anything,
You're
but
like,
feel
"I'll
free
be
to
the
read
judge of
all
that."
of these. And I was like, hey, I respect, as long as you're just a regular player, you don't have to really worry about it. But if you're an asshole, yeah, you might have to worry about these. So you find these little quips all over the place where you don't really expect them to be. But yeah, I haven't gotten to play it yet. I want to try it out, see what it's like. I just finished downloading it. You have to request access to that one. I requested a couple weeks ago. So, but other than that, that's all I've played. Yeah, it's been a quiet couple of weeks.
Quiet.
Awesome.
I'm just been yelling about food in fast food simulator.
Well, we do appreciate everybody who hangs out with us every other week. If to respawn, make sure you hit that sub button as well as the little notification bell. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oak Tree.
Griff.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.